Good evening and welcome back to the Robin Kaiser Show. There are many musicians that play innovative and original pieces from all over California, many from the East Coast, and still many more born and raised in San Francisco. Many styles of music used to emanate from San Francisco, but disco now, unfortunately, has taken over most of it. We're here to discuss the problems confronted in the San Francisco music scene. With us tonight, though, we have a very talented group of musicians who play their original pieces for us. And sitting next to me now is Brian Lohman, the leader of this band, Phases, who will discuss a little bit about it with us. Hi.
Hi. Thanks for having us.
I wonder, Brian, if you can tell me what's coming out of San Francisco right now as far as the music scene goes.
Well, like you say, there is a lot of disco everywhere. And in San Francisco, that's true, too. There's also a lot of Latin music, which is where disco started. Discos originally were for salsa music. And the Latin community has a large musical following. And there's a lot of new wave happening in San Francisco, new wave rock, regressive rock. That's what I call it, because it's sort of the old forms for rock and roll, only taken more outrageous and more social commentary, which is a good point. And there's a large jazz community in San Francisco still, which is good, and it's still plugging away. It's not very cohesive, and I think it needs more organization, but there are a lot of people who really love jazz in the city and a lot of people who go out and see it.
Do you find that you've had to commercialize yourself?
No, I don't think so. The music that we're playing is the music that I hear, and that's what everybody likes. We're doing original stuff, so you can't really say that we're commercializing, because since it is original, there's not an awful lot of money in it until you get a record contract or until you're established.
Do you feel that the record industry, the music industry right now, is looking for your kind of music, or are they backwards in their music?
I think that this music is starting to appeal to a much wider audience. The success of an album called Spirogyra indicates that to me, which was put out on a small label and is sold very well nationally, and now they're starting to put a lot of promotion behind it. But that, and just the effect that jazz artists who have crossed over, like Grover Washington and George Benson, who are reaching a wider audience and merging more R&B and jazz together, it's becoming very successful.
So exactly how would you characterize your music, your band?
Well, we call it jazz Latin funk, one word. But that's what it is. I mean, it comes from all the elements in San Francisco.
So it's more or less, it's a fusion of all the music.
Yeah, I try and stay away from the word fusion just because.
Why?
I don't know. A lot of critics don't like it, and they'll put you in a pigeonhole. And I think that since we do play a lot of different kinds of music, it is really hard to pigeonhole us, and that makes us sort of a pariah in the industry. But a lot of musicians are like that and have succeeded.
Do you find that a lot of clubs are hesitant to put you in their clubs because of your original music? They would rather have you doing more commercial aspects right now, more of what everyone wants to hear.
Well, there are just top 40 clubs, and they will just book top 40, and they just exist like that. The clubs that book original music seem to have a pretty broad spectrum of what they book. They'll book country and western, or rock and roll, or blues, or jazz, or whatever. But they have an audience that can accept original music and goes there, and I think people really get tired of just seeing what they hear on the radio done half as well.
How do you feel out an audience? I mean, how do you feel out the people when you start to play? If they're going to like your music, what do you do? Do you switch around? Do you feel out an audience?
Well, we usually go out there with set lists, and those are the songs we're going to play. But you can get a sense from the audience what they're reacting to and what they're not reacting to, and you can just try a little harder on the type of music maybe that they're not familiar with and therefore are a little hesitant to accept. But it's basically just a matter of them getting to know you and you getting to know them, just like when you meet anybody new.
How long has your band been playing?
Well, it started in phases, interestingly enough, but Jason's joined the band, started the band with me about 7 years ago, and the keyboard players have been playing with us for about 2 years. And the horn players and the percussionist and drummer have joined within the last year, 2 years.
Okay. How did you get your name, Phases? I know that's a typical question, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
It's from a Cannonball Adderley record. There's a song by Hal Galper on there called Phases, and the drummer who was playing with us at the time said, hey, this would be a good name, and we'd been going through all kinds of horrible names for about 2 months and couldn't come up with anything, and we said, yeah, that's good. Okay, let's go with that.
What is your first song that you're going to play for us?
First song we're going to do is called Hasta la Carnival, which means Until the Carnival, and it was written by Jason Stewart, the guitar player. And it's a samba, Brazilian music, Latin music.
Okay. Would you like to play it for us now? Great, thank you. Yeah, that was really good. Okay, now I'd like you guys and everyone in the audience to meet everyone in the band. If I could get over here. Okay, wait a minute. Here we go. Okay. Now you're Frankie Holder, is that right?
That's right. You can drop the E. The E is silent.
Okay, sorry. Now, I understand that you have an album.
Well, I don't have an album out, but I recorded an album recently with an African gentleman named Suleiman Roji, and he's from Sierra Leone, West Africa. And this is his second album in America, and it's called Mother Africa. I Will Not Forget You.
Okay, well, that's great. How long have you been playing with the band?
This band since last year, around October, I guess. October of last year.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Okay, now if I can only get back here. This is... Hi. Okay. Can you get him? Okay. Got him? Okay. This is the drummer, Richard Quintanil.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Who have you played with in the past?
I played with the Don Ellis Orchestra for a while, and I had a chance to play with Malo, Latin group, and I played with Kenny Rankin for a little while. And right now I'm just living in Oakland and practicing and trying to get better at my craft and playing with several different bands in the Bay Area, one of which is Phases here.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Sit down. Okay. Keyboard. You are Howard Bright. Okay. How long have you played with the band?
I've been playing for about 2 years, more or less.
And how long have you been playing keyboards?
Well, off and on since I was about 5, when I was doing classical music first, and then later on I started getting into honky-tonk stuff, playing in bars, like Shakey's Pizza Parlor and things like that. And later on I was getting into country, western, and going all kinds of different branches of music, and finally I've decided that jazz was a much more challenging branch of music.
Why?
There's just a lot more involved, a lot more, it's more complicated when it gets right down to it.
Did you study?
Very little. Well, I did. I went to, I took music school in Santa Barbara, and I graduated, got a or not a master's, but a BA. And, and so I've studied a lot of music, and a lot of it was classical, but a lot of it was in more of the avant-garde reign also, and where you use a lot of atonal, high, bizarre music, if you want to call it that. And I finally got myself into more of a jazz vein, if you want to call it this, that sort of music.
Okay. Thank you. And hey, come meet me. It'll make my life so much easier. Okay, you are Jason Stewart, and how long have you been with the band?
About 5 years.
So you were the one that started with this band. Did you just write this piece?
The last piece, yeah.
Do you write a lot of the music for the band?
About 25%.
Well, thank you very much. Okay. You are the trumpet player, and you are Mike?
Mike Koskinen.
Koskinen. Okay. You are from Finland, no?
That's right.
How long have you been in the States?
Well, I've been here in the Bay Area, I think close to about 2 years now. And I've been in Boston about 3 years there.
How'd you like Boston?
I like San Francisco more. Yeah.
It's more for music, it's better.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I understand that you had an album in Finland.
Yeah, it's called Sunwebs. And, well, it's sort of hard to get here because it's on the Finnish label called Love Records, which doesn't have too much distribution around here. But it's been played at K-Jazz. So and I'm trying to make a new album here too pretty soon.
Oh, great.
So hopefully that, yeah.
So has it been distributed through Europe, though?
Somewhat, like mostly Scandinavia. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And you are Bert Corelli.
That's right.
Okay. I understand, and this is very, very nice, that you have a National Endowment of Arts.
Yeah, I just got a grant from the National Endowment Committee to study with saxophonist Joe Henderson.
Great.
And I'll be doing that for the next year, and studying and working.
How long have you been with the band?
Oh, it's about a year and a half. Brian and I were singing together in a jazz chorus up in San Francisco, and we hooked up about a year and a half ago. I guess we've been playing together since then.
Great, thank you. Now my feed is to get back over here without killing the wires. And you've done commercials, haven't you, Brian?
That's right.
Don't name the sponsors. What else have you been doing besides playing in this band, being the leader?
I did improvisational theater for 4 years, 2 different companies in San Francisco, and I've been doing theater since I was pretty young. So I hope to incorporate that with the music as a performance. But I've been singing with the choir with Bert and doing some arranging for that, and hopefully that will continue. I'd like to start singing more jazz, doing lounge work.
Thank you. Okay, now, what are you going to do for your next song?
Next song we'd like to do is a composition of Mike's, and it's called Mother Africa. No relation to the album Frankie's on.
Okay. Thank you. I'd like to take this time to close the show and thank everyone for viewing, and thank Brian Lohman and his band Phases especially for a very good job. If anyone would like to know anything about Phases or anything about the show, please contact me, Robin Kaiser, care of Gill Cable Public Access TV, 1302 North 4th Street, San Jose, 95112. And now they'd like to close out the show. Thank you.
Driving around downtown, you don't know up and down, no. Trying to find a party, trying to soak your mind. Weekend after weekend, what new can you find? Trying to find a party, trying to soak your brain. Weekend after weekend, you know it's just the same. Natural light, natural light, sad. Natural light, natural light, natural light, natural light, sad. Natural light, natural need to find high, something new to try. Checking out the action, I'll bet you're checking out the scene. Pushing up the weekend, you know it's in routine. Checking out the action, hey, without anything to do. Weekend after weekend.